everyone, my name's Aliyah and I am a clinical pharmacist. So my background is I work in a hospital, but I'm a great advocate for mental health. This week it's really been touching to see the news about Simone and the fact that she has actually taken a step back from the Olympics because of her mental health. That for me not only stands out because I am a healthcare professional, and not only also because I did a year's training within the mental health field working at a mental health hospital, but I also used to be an athlete. So before you start, no, it's not on Simone's level. I never went to the Olympics or competed for my country, but I too understand the pressures and the mental health strain that it can give you when you are competing, when you're in a team, when you're looking out for not only your teammates, but you're representing something. So for me, looking into this, it was really heartwarming, and I felt to do this video because it is something that we all need to look out for. For Simone, I completely get it. I mean, she went into the vault not with her mind in the right place, as it clearly says in her interview. The thing is, when you're training, you're always training up for this moment, but as she got to the Olympics, that's just vault alone is 10 different skills that you're having to remember. That's 10 skills that you're having to make sure that you execute to the best of your ability. And it's so easy to go in and think, right, I just need to make sure I'm aligned this way, or I make sure that I hit this skill, or I reach up and tuck. But it's very, very hard when you get to that moment and your head's not in the right space, that it's so easy to hurt yourself, to cause serious injuries. And for her, I completely get it in the sense that she had to take a step back. That was her worst score when it comes to vault. And you can clearly see, and as she said in her interview, that she went into that moment not being in the right mindset. Her word for word, she said that she went out there, and you go out there as an athlete and you expect to have fun. You train as a sport because it's something that you love. But she's gone out there, and she said as soon as she got onto the floor, she knew her head was not in the right space. She knew that she wasn't having fun. She knew that it was no longer something that she was doing for herself, but it was for other people, and her head was not in the right space. So after competing in the vault, she did come off, she took a step back, and she left it to her teammates. And the reason why I would really say that that's important is because, one, you do not want to injure yourself. You do not want to be out there thinking, okay, my head's not here, and make a mistake. And also, for somebody competing in that level, you actually have she had the whole of her country basically just waiting on her to get that gold. So I give it my hat off to her. I take my hat off to her. I think it was incredibly brave of her to do that, and to stand up afterwards and do that interview and say, do you know what, I had to leave it for my teammates because my mindset wasn't there. I really think this is important to then talk about mental health and mental well-being, and the reason why we do things in life in general, not just an athlete, but whatever field you're really in. And even if you are an athlete, it might not be gymnastics, but it could be football, basketball, whatever sport you're doing. You will know that the pressures that are on you when you go out, particularly at that level, at that elite level, it is very, very difficult. And I think that as not only people who watch, so not as only spectators, but those who have loved ones within those fields, it's really important to care for them, to guide them and encourage them. I know Simone also mentioned that it was difficult because after the pandemic, getting back into training and not only going out there, you didn't have that crowd of people that would usually cheer you on, or it wasn't the same environment. So that too can be really, really detrimental. I know particularly when I used to train, it was really important that I had that encouragement, not only from my coach, but my teammates. It always caused me to push and try harder. And I would say really taking the time out you know, you do train a lot with it, but it's making sure that you're reminding yourself why you're doing these things. And you don't necessarily go into that sport or into that career, even whoever's watching this, whatever you do, when you're going into certain things, is making sure that, you know, you're going into it with the right mindset. You're going into it thinking this is not only just for everybody. In fact, it's not for everybody, it's for you. And it's putting yourself first sometimes and saying, for my well-being, I must know that I'm at that level to achieve. I'm at that level to do my best. I'm at that level where I'm not going to hurt myself. As I rightly said, I'm a pharmacist, so I work in a hospital, and every day I'm on the wards with my patients, and I have to make sure that I've had a good amount of sleep. I'm not pushing myself past my limit, and I'm making sure that when I'm on the wards, I'm completely there, because it's not my life at risk, it's my patients. And I think taking these concepts and putting them into whatever field you're in is very, very important. And I will always push to have a good mental health, a good mental balance, and a good mind health. Making sure that you're doing things that, you know, encourage you, make you feel better, whether it's taking that time out to even have a long, nice bath with some candles and some music, reading a book, whatever it is, making sure that you find that time to do something that will completely take your mind off everything and bring you back to that place of peace. I think that it's really, really important that us as a country, or even the entire world, that we're making sure that we're coming back to that level, that foundations of making sure that we're okay before we go out and do something, before we go out and be everything that we want to be. I think the strongest foundation is to have a mind that is clear, a mind that's at peace, and a mind that, you know, you know that you can go through those pressures. Life will always throw pressures at you, and Simone knows that, but she also knows when it's time to stop and take a step back, and I think that's very, very important. We will always be in situations that may be difficult, maybe tiresome, maybe hard, but I think it's remembering not only why you were doing something, but how you can do it, and saying, you know what, I'm not going to push myself today. I'm going to take that step back, and I'm going to think about why I'm doing these things. I think this really opens up for other athletes, but this video is for everyone, to say that protect your mental health. Make sure that when you are pushing for the things that you want to achieve, that you are reminding yourself why you were doing it, and you are making sure that you have these things in place to monitor your mental health. It's very difficult to see it for yourselves, so having loved ones around you, friends, family, work colleagues, who can spot these things out for you is very, very important. And don't be afraid to be that person that does that for somebody else. If you see a work colleague that is looking very stressed, they've come into work, they're not the same, maybe they're not kept today, you can tell that, you know, they haven't maybe looked after themselves, or they're coming in, they're tired all the time, and make sure you are that person to point it out, because you could be the reason why they're able to live a better life, why they're able to get the help that they need. Not everybody is at that level where they're able to spot that their mental health is deteriorating. And I think as a whole, particularly after the pandemic, it's very, very important that we look after one another and ourselves. I think that it's very key that we're helping one another in spotting these things and making sure that people get back to that well-being that we need. I think the world would be a much better place. I know that sounds so cliche, but it's really important that we all look after ourselves, and make sure that you have a list of things that, you know, will keep you in check, a list of things that you like to do, and maybe just making sure that you go through your list every week. You know, did I actually take an hour out each day? Or if you don't have every day to do it, did I make sure that I had enough time to make sure I'm at peace, to make sure that I'm at a place of comfort, that I've rested, that I've, you know, recharged, that I'm ready to go out and battle life again. Because life is a battlefield. You have to have that mindset that you will continue to fight through these things. And I think it's very key that you keep up with everything that is keeping you in place. So as I said, after this video, make sure that you make a list of things that you like to do, things that you think keep your mind in check, and making sure that you even let those around you know. Maybe it's a sister, a brother, a best friend, but just saying that, you know, this is what happens to me when I see my mental health deteriorating. Maybe I get snappy, maybe I get antisocial, maybe, you know, I hide away from people. But making sure that you let them know that when I get into that state, I need you to tell me that my mental health is not where it should be. I think it's very, very key. I can't stress this enough. And Simone has been an amazing role model in showing us that it's very, very important, no matter how much you love your dreams, to take that step back when you feel the need to. You know, it's very hard for an athlete who has given up their teenage years. They're not going out partying and drinking and doing the things that other people of their age group would do. You know, it's very, very difficult that, you know, you take the time out to say, I'm going to train for this thing and I'm going to push it with everything I have, to then get to this level of the Olympics and take a step back. I think we really need to realize how much she has sacrificed up to this point, and as do many of you, whether it is a career or whether it is being in athletics of any sport. That you realize that yes, you have made all these sacrifices to be where you are. So don't get to that point where you mentally break yourself, because it's all right to be physically fit, but it all comes from that foundation of having the right mindset. So don't forget what you have achieved. Don't forget where you have got to. Don't forget how you have got there. But make sure that your mind is at a level to continue to push you. As I said, yes, I also used to be an athlete, not at Simone's level, but it showed me that, you know, you have to not put so much stress on yourself. It's very difficult to feel like you may be letting your team down, but you have to remember that regardless, if she had pushed herself, she would have let the team down, because she would have either injured herself and been out anyway and not scored as great as she wanted to. So it's very important that she hit that level and she said, you know what, I'm not going to continue. I'm going to leave it up to my teammates. And as the same for you, whether you're at work, whether you're training, make sure that you know where you are with your mental health, where you need to be and where you want to be. And that's something that you should set for yourself. Set a target, set some time out every day or every week, whatever you feel is right for yourself. Making sure you're doing the things that you love, not just for work, but just for your mind. So yeah, I hope this helps you all. I hope that you continue to use some of these tips. Make sure that you are keeping up with House Medics. We've had a mental health video that has been uploaded, which I think will be very useful for you to watch. If you want, replay this one, and I hope it helps you. Thank you.